I'm Debra Smith, like she said. I'm at Southside. I teach 4th grade science to the kids. But from my unit, I think I learned a lot of math in it too. And kind of the math teacher and I had cooperated some of this. And the objective was to construct an argument. To construct an argument that plants and animals have adaptations that help them survive. The argument part was the hardest for them. To assess the prior knowledge, we did a walk around the school and did all these things, looking at what we had at school. And I did a little walk up behind our school, which we can't do that now due to construction. I'm glad we did it then. We would have been hurt. But they learned what was a monocot and a dicot, why we grouped them into kingdoms and stuff like that. That was our first kind of inkling into it. We developed questions first, and that's some of the things they wanted to know. As you can see on our charts, these are some things we did to see why they grouped them, what made it a monocot, what made it a dicot, and all that. Okay, here are some boys putting that we grew in 4 different types of soil, which wasn't soil to them. It was cotton, vermiculite, dirt, and sawdust. They had such a great time. They all made a prediction of which one. Everybody said it would grow in the dirt first, but guess which one? Cotton grew the first. But in the end, the whole thing was to show them that as long as they were from the earth, that it would grow anyway. And one of them said, let's get an old shoe and try that. So we tried an old shoe for a while. And they write, this is the girls planting their little plant, and every time it grew something, they would take like the leaf came up, they put a leaf thing on it, some of the stuff these. I do not have a window in mine. I'm in the middle of the building, but we stuck it on one of the other 4th grade teachers' windows. This is here we talk the root view, where they saw which grew first, the root or the stem or whatever, you know. This little boy here, he looks mad all the time. He's not. He's not. No, he's a sweet little boy. Here they learn different ways of growing plants, like taking the 2 tomato plants up here at the top, grafting 2 different tomato plants together. And this here, the spider plant, they love this one because they can take off the little spiders and regrow them into different soils. And up here we used a pot that we had. It was the only thing I had that day to put them in. I said, oh, dude, we got dirt. Let's put it in there. And that was bulbs we talked about. And some of the kids all brought things from home. This was in the fall when I first did this because if I waited to now, we'd all be hurting because actually in the end, our greenhouse or our high tunnel didn't get put up because of weather and all things we did at school with our construction work. Over here, the jade plant, they knew they just snapped that little leaf off. They would grow a new plant. And each one took this home, things that we wanted to try. I have 82 students now, and each one took something home to redo it at home, show mom and dad. Here, they're actually showing that if the leaves are covered up in a baggie, you put Vaseline on the leaves, and you cover it up in the baggie and washed it for a while. They thought it would do anything. But they realized that it needs air to breathe. It needs all those parts. So that was the whole, we used carnations, we used the celery to show the take up of the water. Here, we tested one is in no light, one is no water, one has light and water, and you can see the little hood on the thing came off and it went a little crazy on them, but they realized it still grew, but it was such a lighter color. Here we did some plants with Elodia plants, and we graphed how much bubbles a minute, so they knew they needed air. That was another thing. And this is their interpretation of it when we're done. Also, that's the next one. They understand now about photosynthesis. Each group had to come up with their own idea on the poster board of what they thought photosynthesis was, what transpiration, and this is some of the things they came up with. Here, this child is, they had to come up with a presentation of their own to show, had to be technology type, but also they had to research. She understood that she had, because it was winter time, at this time when she did this, she had to take the little bee on the stick to pollinate it, and she's sitting there shaking that stick, and that bee started buzzing. She screamed and wanted to throw it away just about it. She was very, at first, upset with it. But then after we got going, it was okay. Nobody else was scared of the bees. They had to do 3 photosynthesis, plant life cycle, and plant parts. Here's doing some of the research. They love this. I have one child. Here's some of their projects. Putting the case up front. The pictures didn't do too good. We had one little girl, listen over here, this right here. She did that with origami folding. They come up with good stuff. Here was a PowerPoint some did. Here, while they were growing, we did some more things, watching smartboard activities and watching all this stuff grow. That was out in my room, looked like a...
Is that a heat lamp? Is it under?
Yes. And I had to tell them at first we couldn't call it a greenhouse because from the Pride grant, I got a Pride grant to go along with this. If you call it a greenhouse, you could be fine. So now you have to call it a high tunnel. This is some of the things we grew. Some of the kids growing, showing what they grew. Little greenhouse behind them. In the end, the problem was we didn't get to plant any of this stuff in our greenhouse because it wasn't completed. And they're watching every day, is it done, is it done, is it done? Here they interviewed grandparents to talk about the cost of groceries years ago and now, and the cost of growing a garden. That was the whole point to this, is to show them. Here they tasted different things that were dried, fruits and vegetables and things. Here we had pineapples, all the things you buy in the grocery store, but they didn't realize you could do that to this, to the fruit. Here, now this is some of the other people in the building that are still working on this too. It's like everybody gets to plant in it when we're done. And the whole idea when we're done, we wanted them to be able to cultivate, to hoe it, to grow, to do all the things that they would do if they were back in the 1900s, 1800s. And here's showing some of the process so far. We didn't get to this stage, so we're at that one right now. But this is what I want in the end, and this is what we're doing for next year. And we're working with the ARI hospital, has agreed to let us, it's across the road from our school, to have like a little farmer's market on a certain day of the week, and because they're doing it too, and we get to sell our profit and get all the profits for us. We don't get to, don't have to give it to them, you know, and the kids are loving that. And they're saying, well, I won't get to do that next year. So they will be, because each grade they will get to do a certain crop in the high tunnel. That's the worst thing, call it a high tunnel. Any other questions? It took me 4 grants to get enough money to buy this. It's like $26.50, and it's not included all the other stuff that's going to be needed inside, the tables, the pots, the dirt, everything.
$650.
Yes, for everything for the high tunnel. And 2 doors, 1 door on each end. We got it as close to the water hydrant as we could. And due to all the weather and stuff, we couldn't even get started till it quit snowing for starters. It was amazing.